the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
This former Chicago Bears analyst just delivered a bold take about Caleb Williams. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. First and foremost, Bears fans, happy Thursday. We are so close to the weekend and even closer to the start of Chicago Bears training camp, which means Chicago Bears football is almost officially back. On today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I wanted to share with you guys a reaction and just a bold comment by former Chicago Bears analyst Danny Parkins. You guys probably remember Danny Parkins very well. He was on 670 The Score. He was a radio host for the Chicago Bears, and then he moved over to FS1. They got on the conversation about Caleb Williams. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, we have talked about how I believe it was either PFF or some, I think it may have been CBS as well. They posted the ceilings and the floors for every second year quarterback in the National Football League. And of course, it was a big uproar when they put Caleb Williams' ceiling was Jordan Love and his floor was a bust. Danny Parkins actually delivered a really bold take, and he actually made a whole lot of sense. He made the take that Caleb Williams is already better than Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love. So what I'm going to do right here on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I'm going to go ahead and share the video of Danny Parkins' take on FS1 the other day. I just want you guys to initially react to it down below in the comment section. Check this out, Bears fans.
It's not PFF. It's not a monolith. It's John Costco, all right? And it's a discount opinion. It doesn't make any sense. I watched these games.
That's a Costco joke.
You see that? Costco, you can buy it in bulk, etc. Not even a chuckle. Come on.
No puns.
Right, how about that?
I told you that.
How about this? How about this? Caleb Williams already better than Jordan Love. How about that?
No one believes that.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's true.
Really?
Jordan Love has played the majority of 2 seasons, right? Both of those seasons, double-digit interceptions, 11 interceptions.
Love
each of those
went into Dallas.
Oh, yeah, because Mike McCarthy's never lost a playoff
Cowboys.
game at home and gotten blown out. Yeah, he had a nice playoff game. Congratulations. Here's the thing about Jordan Love. Guy had 11 interceptions both years that he played. Caleb Williams played 17 games last year, had 6.
He's scared to throw the ball, Dan.
Right.
Caleb Williams' offensive coordinator was fired 9 games into his rookie year with the worst offensive line in the league, and they fired his head coach 3 weeks after they fired his offensive coordinator because his head coach didn't know that you could call timeouts. Jordan Love has Matt LaFleur of the Sean McVay tree. He has been, everything in the world has been catered to him. Jordan Love, the unbelievable ceiling, had a 63% completion percentage last year.
You don't need to dim
Look,
Jordan
I
Love's
I do need to
candle.
dim Jordan Love's candle when he is the ceiling for a guy who is world's talent. Now, here's the thing about
I
Bucks.
like Caleb, but come on. You don't act like he didn't play any role in their problems last year.
I'm not saying
you
that.
know that sack is in part a quarterback stat too. A lot of those sacks were on him.
He took too many sacks, Brew, but the offensive line was playing guys who were on other teams' practice squads at the beginning of the year. He had 60.
You've seen other quarterbacks make do with bad offensive lines. How was C.J. Stroud's his rookie year?
C.J. Stroud was better than Caleb Williams was as a rookie. No doubt about it. But no one would say that C.J. Stroud's ceiling is Jordan Love.
Were you worried about the accuracy? Like, there's a lot of it's like, oh,
his accuracy was the same as Jordan Love's within a percentage point.
What is it, Jordan Love?
Without, I'm sorry, does it not
floor,
say?
how about the floor is bust?
Bust is off the table. If you watched Caleb Williams, there's no earthly way you could believe that guy is going to bust. If you have 68 sacks, do you also have a 3.5 to 1 touchdown interception ratio? Because that's what Caleb Williams had.
Well, like Wild said, he wouldn't throw the ball in many cases. He had some really good games.
In his last 7 games, he had 11 touchdowns against 1 interception. against Brian Flores' defense, he completed 68% of his passes, had 2 touchdowns, had 340 yards, scored 27 points. They happened to lose in overtime.
That was a nice little comeback, second half.
Watch that Jaguars game. Watch the fourth quarter of the game and Lambeau to end the year.
I don't think he'll be a bust. I'm with you on that. I think he'll be good.
The table.
What I'm saying is this. If he's not very good this year, and I'm not saying, he's got to make the Pro Bowl or anything like that, but if he doesn't wow us this year, then bust is on the if he struggles this year, bust is on the table.
Explain to me the logic of the floor of Drake May being Daniel Jones, which, would people say is a bust? And then the floor of Caleb Williams is bust. Too. I don't know. I just don't. There's no.
Maybe it's
no
that he
consistency.
wasn't drafted number 1. Is that I'm
drafted number 3?
And what is a bust? If he's just a mediocre starting quarterback.
No second contract.
So Bears fans, as you can see, it definitely caused a lot of reactions, to the other 2 analysts that were basically disagreeing with Danny Parkins. And when you really think about it, the Chicago Bears finally have a case. For years and years and years, that was the one thing that the Green Bay Packers really had over the Chicago Bears was their quarterback play. You think about Brett Favre, you think about Aaron Rodgers, and just how they were so far superior than the Chicago Bears quarterback play. But for the first time ever, it seemed that the Chicago Bears may finally have an edge in regard to quarterback play. When you look at just last season alone, this is where Danny Parkins makes a whole lot of sense. Caleb Williams went toe-to-toe with Jordan Love twice last season. Williams had the more efficient performance in the first matchup with over 300 total yards. If it wasn't just, for that block field goal, Caleb Williams would have won that football game. And then in the rematch, once again, during the season finale, Love obviously went down with that injury in that game. And once again, Caleb Williams led yet another fourth quarter comeback and game-winning drive against the Green Bay Packers, where this time Cairo Santos drilled the game-winning field goal. So Caleb Williams, first and foremost, could easily be 2-0 against the Green Bay Packers in his NFL career. And when you really think about all this, Caleb Williams went toe-to-toe with Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers twice last season, even with a massive disadvantage, not only in his coaching staff, talking about Matt Eberflus, talking about Shane Waldron, but also a lackluster offensive line as well. Of course, those other analysts made some good points about Caleb Williams holding on to the ball too long. And, he has to be at fault for some of those sacks that he took last season. And I absolutely agree with that. But at the end of the day, Danny Parkins also came back with the notion saying, hey, there a lot of the Chicago Bears offensive linemen last year were guys that would be practice squad players on other teams. And I couldn't agree more. Obviously, once again, Ryan Poles went into this offseason and he upgraded the interior offensive line with Drew Dahlman, Joe Thuney, and Jonah Jackson. Of course, you have Darnell Wright coming back. And of course, he upgraded the coaching staff as well with Ben Johnson. I'm honestly bringing in the proper quarterback coach. I think Declan Doyle is going to be a really good OC and mentor for Caleb Williams as well. So with all those characteristics and all those additives, when you're talking about this situation, yes, I do agree with Danny Parkins is that Caleb Williams is already better than I do agree with Danny Parkins that Caleb Williams is already better than Jordan Love. Now, with the additions and what Ryan Poles has done to the roster, now Caleb Williams has to go out there and prove that he is better than Jordan Love. Everything is on Caleb Williams' side to finally turn that trend around, that finally a Chicago Bears quarterback can be far superior than the Green Bay Packers quarterback. So Bears fans, once again, go ahead and comment down your opinions in the comment section. Do you agree with Danny Parkins? Do you also believe that Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love? Let me know down below in the comment section. But Bears fans, before I let you guys go on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, I also want to talk about what Gervon Dexter had to say about how different it is on the defense side of the football already going into training camp with Dennis Allen calling the shots compared to Matt Eberflus. Obviously, when you look at what Matt Eberflus was trying to accomplish, his approach was very simplistic. It was meant to help his players think less and react faster. And obviously, Gervon Dexter really benefited from that defensive scheme. He had 5 sacks and 19 quarterback hits under Matt Eberflus last season. But Gervon Dexter already said that he kind of likes what Dennis Allen is bringing to the Chicago Bears defense already. And this is what he had to say on the situation, Bears fans. Coach Allen's defense is a lot of different. You know what I mean? He throws in a lot of different fronts, a lot of different ways to get after the quarterback and stuff like that. So I think being the type of guy I am, I could play in a lot of different fronts. So just being in it, and he'll move guys around the way and the offense, he'll switch it up on the offense. It'll be good for not only me, but everybody on the defensive line and on this defense. So once again, when you're looking back at what Matt Eberflus was trying to accomplish, he was really trying to push for his guys to play with maximum effort and just win their one-on-one battles, while Dennis Allen is basically aiming to play the chess match, finding the disadvantages and just favorable matchups for guys like Gervon Dexter. And this is where I feel like guys like Gervon Dexter, guys that are versatile, that they can really benefit in a scheme like Dennis Allen. Obviously, Dennis Allen has made a living with guys like Gervon Dexter in the past during his time with the New Orleans Saints as well. So Gervon Dexter has a really golden opportunity not to only flourish on the interior going against the guards and centers, but he has the flexibility and versatility to play edge rusher as well. And Dennis Allen is going to use Gervon Dexter in many different ways. So I'm definitely excited not only for Gervon Dexter under this Dennis Allen's defense here in Chicago, but also the entirety of the defensive line as well. I think this was probably one of the better pickups for Ben Johnson, especially being a new first-time head coach, bringing a defensive coordinator and with experience, a guy that has, been a head coach before, so he can definitely help him with that transition. But I think guys like Gervon Dexter are definitely going to pay off and benefit big time from a guy like Dennis Allen. But other than that, Bears fans, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for all new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the Mic. You ain't